Elizabeth Meyer Karansky. I'm Farewelling's co-founder. I'm also a funeral director, an end-of-life doula, a thanatologist, and Farewelling's funeral guru. So we have some wonderful questions, and today I'm answering one near and dear to my heart. What was your experience being a woman in the funeral industry when you started over a decade ago? What kind of changes are you seeing now? So it was actually really tough to be a female in the funeral industry years ago. It was very much a male-dominated field. Thank goodness things have changed. Now, not only are there so many more women in this industry, but also mortuary school is actually filled with over 50% women, which is amazing. Now, not only are women more represented, they're also much more well respected. While at one point it was looked upon as negative to be too emotional or too involved, now funeral directors are realizing that that's what their clients want. A funeral director who cares. True compassion and sympathy are now valued in our industry, which is so wonderful. What's it like being a newlywed, a first-time mom, a co-founder, and a funeral director, all in the middle of a global pandemic? Although the funeral director is the weird title, it's actually the only one I'm fully comfortable with because I've been in the funeral industry for over a decade, whereas I became a wife, mom, and co-founder all within the past year. So I was suddenly completely tilted off my axis. I'm someone who has a lot of energy. So I thought I had everything under control. I was sure everything was going great until COVID happened. For my family's safety, we left New York, and to say I was uncomfortable is an understatement. I was living in my childhood bedroom as a newlywed. I had a baby whom I had no idea how to care for, and New York City was experiencing more deaths than they ever had in my lifetime, and I wasn't there. I desperately wanted to go back and join the front line, but I had a breastfeeding baby who needed my attention. And then I flipped a switch in my brain. I remembered why I got into this industry in the first place, and it was to help people at the point where they had been tipped off their axis. This was the same kind of pain I experienced after my dad died, so I treated this like grief, and I took the advice that I give to others, and I asked for help. My mom came to the rescue and helped me take care of the baby, and Karen, my co-founder, bore the load of the farewelling work. She did more than her fair share. Was I amazing? At the time I would have said no, I was just holding on. But looking back on it, that holding on was pretty great actually. As many moms can tell you, this is what working during COVID looks like. We have our babies right on our lap. This is Brett. She's the newest member of the farewelling team. She takes most meetings right here. I'm considering a career in the funeral industry. What advice do you have for those of us starting out? Are there any personality traits that suit someone best in this field? Are there any resources that I can check out? Great question. My first bit of advice is before starting in the industry, make sure it's something that you really want to do. A lot of times in order to become a funeral director, not only do you have to go through years of schooling, but you also have to do an apprenticeship. This means that you're investing not only a lot of time, but also money before you even apply to school. I would try personally to get an internship. You can go and talk to your local funeral directors, talk to the local funeral homes. Maybe they have a role for you that even as a receptionist or something that someone unlicensed could do, at least you would gain exposure and decide whether or not the industry is for you. Empathy is so important to have in this field, but there's also a lot more. It's really important that you're patient. You're dealing with families in their greatest time of loss, so often not only will there be family disputes that you need to settle or kind of help settle, but also they're going to be foggy and not clear-headed and not making decisions very well, and you just need to be patient and let them work through it. In order to be in this industry, you have to be a hard worker. Not only is this career physically taxing, it's also mentally taxing. You know, there are late nights, so you may be up in the middle of the night doing a removal. Lastly, it's really important to be selfless in this field. You know, death happens at inconvenient times. It's not rare to miss out on a family holiday or family celebration. Keep in mind that that's something that happens quite often in this field. As far as resources, I would say read everything you can find. Nowadays, there's a lot of information available online. Take a look. And then I would say go to your local funeral home and talk to a funeral director or someone in the industry, and they'll be able to provide a lot of information. We would love to hear from you. Please leave any questions or comments below. Follow us on Instagram, write into us at info@myfarewelling. Speak to you soon.